Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Cilicia. We are playing as the Kingdom of Little Armenia. We started last time off in this small little door wedge shape right here, and have since expanded our dominion to be the whole of Anatolia, with only two small locations out of it. Now you might be asking, oh, but Brown Dog 2, why are we back here? Because our job is not finished yet. We still have great things to do. We need to take back the Armenian homeland that is a vassal to the Georgian state, and we must reforge the borders of the once great Armenian Empire, which I should be putting a photo of it on the screen right now. If not, I got lazy. Those borders that we aspire to reach down roughly to Jerusalem, reach down halfway into Iraq, and brush up against the Caucasian mountains. On top of all that, I want to make our land solely Armenian, get rid of all this Turkish rubbish, while continuing to integrate our vassals and building up our economy. The state religion needs to get expanded, as we are Miaphysite, and almost half of our country is still Sunni. Our culture in the areas where we have a lot of control is quite strong, but the Armenian culture could always be pushed further. We have a couple Turkish beyliks on the far east of Anatolia that still need to be integrated, and the Georgian kingdom still stands, which we can't allow that. I do have an alliance with Egypt at the moment, but I just need to build up my professionals a bit more before I feel comfortable taking them on. They've been our longtime ally. I've been using them basically as a battering ram, but we just have to tackle them sooner than later, because if I leave them to go for too much longer, I'm not sure I'll be able to take them on. That's right, we have a lot to look forward here today, ladies and gentlemen. So, without further fluff, let's get right on into it. We're just dealing with a brief Sunni rebellion. I should have noticed I didn't see the rebel ticking up. But while we're dealing with that, I'm just going to call Parliament, use a Parliament CB, just to finally clean up the last location I'm missing in Anatolia. The only other one I'm missing is Phoenicia, right here, owned by Thessaly, which we will deal with that in time, just not just this second. Alrighty, we're just going to deck on Safranbolu with the Parliament CB and finally clean up the second last location we need in Anatolia. And just like that, we'll full annex Safranbolu and take all of their money. You know what's beautiful? Armenian Constantinople. That's beautiful. Also beautiful is our Destroy Enemy CB on Georgia. So we're just going to deck with Destroy Enemy CB. I'm going to just call on Egypt and let them fight the war for me. Why do my men have to die if they're willing to die for me? We're going to take as much as possible. They did annex in Armenia, so we'll have to, at least take some of their land and get them to spit it back out. But this should be a pretty clean war, even though it is quite large. Georgia's been absolutely shattered. Then we're just going to cut Georgia in half, and we'll come back for more. I'm going to release that as... Yes, there we go. We can see that Yerevan has been liberated with our sacred cathedral. And just like that, wonderful balkanization of Georgia. The only thing I'm going to do here for certain is take the county of Armenia, which we've just put back in the world, and make sure to enforce the correct religion onto them. Some of my vassals, as you can see, are upset. I just finished converting over the last of my far western vassals to the correct culture. And it'll just take some time, and we'll make sure that everybody on here is on the same page. Armenian culture is alive and well. It's just the Miaphysite church we're trying to push at the moment. So my treaty against Georgia has expired, so I'm just going to deck on Yerevan, their vassal, with the follow-through on threat CB that I have thanks to my vassals. Egypt's not willing to come in to win this war for me this time. However, I do have my professional stack, so I should just march on in, and that will deal with most of it. We're going to take back the rest of the Armenian homelands and hopefully dissolve the remainder of the state of Georgia. As for the Age of Reformation, I was taking a quick look, and I think I'm just going to go admin again. I wish that I was more creative, but sometimes the admin buffs are just what you need, and I like the religious conversion. Alrighty, from Georgia, I'm just gonna have them transfer their vassal of Mugan. Also, that war gave me a pretty good sight of how many men my vassals can field, and I can pull numbers comparable to the Mamluk Sultanate of Egypt with my vassal levies, and my professional army is basically the same size. So if I was to keep stacking the professionals, I might be able to start challenging Egypt and look at going into the Levant. For basically the entire game, I've been getting this event of border friction because I have core territory on Egypt, namely northern Syria, and I've been ignoring it. But I think finally I'm actually going to say that it's time for a policy change because we don't need Egypt to protect us anymore, and we can stand against them. It is time for a policy change. It's time to go south and take our rightful land back. And just like that, it's time for the fight I've been getting ready for the whole game. It's time to go blow to blow against Egypt. Technically, we're weaker than them. Realistically, I think we're going to mop the floor with them, but I think it has a real chance of being a drag down knockout. Pound for pound, their vassals are better than ours. I'm going to do my best not to raise levies because I think they'll just get in the way and eat the food. Most of my vassals are going to be. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm missing a diplomat. 1 second. Most of my vassals are just going to be. How do I say this? Fodder. So long as I am able to get the jump on them, I should be able to, with the amount of artillery in this army, I should be able to blow through any forts that they have in the way, and then just work my way down the Levant. So, just like that, on the 1st of October, we will deck our claims on the province of Al Iskandarun and fight the biggest war that I have fought in EU5. Alrighty, so opening stages of the war, Egypt has taken the seas. There's nothing I can do about that. I put down a castle on Cyprus just to make sure that they have to siege it out, but they're going to take the island. We've taken one of the border forts and have won. There's been a couple battles, nothing major yet. It's saying they outnumber us by 70,000. I don't fully believe that. Again, if it gets really bad, I still have the oh shit button of the levies, but I'm really hoping it doesn't get to that. We also did just get the local governor from Pike and Shot. So while we're in the middle of this cluster, I'm just going to throw down the local governor on, I think, Smyrna for the time being. I'll move him to be in a more correct position later, but I do just need some control all the way out here. This is just residual because I finished annexing the subject there. But if we actually look at the real proximity I can push, it's very limited all the way out here. The entire Egyptian army has just crashed into northern Syria. I can see 100,000 troops just eating my vassals alive. I'm actually going to march on over. Let's see how this goes. Holy jeez. They have 120. They have their entire army in that. And I might have to retreat out of this at some point. But yeah, the losses are bad. Yeah, our flanks fallen. And their center's fallen though. Oh, that's rough. I'm gonna retreat out of this. Yeah, we lost 10,000 professionals. That's gonna take a second to repair. Oh wow, we finally technically beat them at battle. So now everything we're fighting should just be peasant levy, and we should be able to cut through peasant levy like butter. Should, but apparently can't. Well, if they just want to keep coming in and fighting me, I'll take it. I don't understand how I'm taking the bad terrain here, though, when they're attacking me. Now, we are trading across the aisle, but I think their morale's gonna shatter, hopefully. Ooh, that was bloody. I gotta pull back and heal again. So far, 100,000 dead on each side. Alrighty, that's it. Get me the farming levy. Get me them peasants. I got a Mamluks to kill. That's a massive battle of shit. Although it looks like theirs is higher quality than mine, just at a glance. And it looks like my center's broken. Um, okay, we'll retreat back to the capital. Okay, I'm gonna send 25,000 dirty peasants down there. Gonna send 27,000 dirty peasants to Hlab. And I'm going to take my regulars and have them stand on Antioch, but be ready to. Actually, no, I'm going to have my dirty peasants stand on Halab, but be ready to have them run over as needed. Again, when we do catch like Egyptian peasants out, we do kill them quite effectively. It's just their big stacks that have been beating the piss out of us. This war has not been just one giant glorious victory. It's definitely been a slow grind, but we are wearing them down. And I believe I can outplay the AI from this position. I mean, I haven't even started to buy mercenaries. Actually, okay, so my army's reduced to 3,500 men. Good news. If there's no mercenaries, there's nobody you have to pay at the end of their contract, right? Oh boy, yeah, peasant levy was a bad idea. Okay, pull back the troops and let the Mamluks come to my walls and give me more mercenaries. Now, the Egyptians did just drop in behind us, and that is their professional stack. I'm not taking a white piece. We've both bled too much for this to be a white piece. We're gonna take that fight against the Egyptians, and it's gonna be a big one. But we come out on top, and we're going back to Antioch. We're gonna take the city again. And just after that, as Antioch falls, we're gonna take Halab again. Okay, well, if nothing else, I'm not leaving this war without this. Okay, whoa, 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 what do you mean you're rolling peace out for that? Why did Egypt suddenly change its mood? What happened? Why is France at war with Egypt? There's a crusade. Hey! Okay. Apparently I stirred up the Catholics enough that there's a crusade for Egypt. Okay, well the war is going to end one way or another. I need to make sure to not go over the timer, but I need to siege down so much land in my name and make sure that the Catholics don't steal Jerusalem out from under me. I'm going to take Adana, Antioch, Latakia, and Libanana, and also the city of Damascus, as well as 200 ducats. Egypt is still fighting the Catholic Crusaders, but I need some time to lick my wounds and repair. Luckily, we have taken back the city of Antioch and get a wonderful event here. The event just reads how we're going to rebuild the monasteries and how in the 13th century the Christians of the city were put to the sword. I'm going to do my best actually to hold on to all the provinces I just took myself. As you know, that's I would eventually like to get down into Jerusalem, but I have at least two, maybe three more wars with the Mamluks to fight. Jerusalem is the farthest south I plan on going, and then the rest should be going against Syria. Damascus is pretty well the furthest south city we took, but I really wanted it this war for that sweet, sweet Damascus trade zone. Wow, that was a much rougher war than I was expecting. I was expecting the AI to roll over a bit more than that, though all of my levies were, or all of my military units were an age out of date, I suppose. But just for a quick check-in after the war, the Miaphysite Church had a good chance to expand while I was distracted. The Armenian culture is doing fantastic. Turkey is Armenia, and our control map mode, our local governor in Smyrna is doing quite well pushing that control around for me. I know that AI is famously bad at doing like distant wars, but the fact that the French and all of their vassals and a decent chunk of Germany and the Pope are bouncing off of the Egyptians after they outnumber them more than 10 to 1. And they're not laying a scratch on them is so far past pathetic. I can't even explain it. Like, Egypt should be getting rolled over right now, 10 times over. The only thing is I'm happy that it's keeping Egypt weak because I can go back in on them once the truce is up, and I will have had time to repair, and they should still be recovering from the last Great War. Now that most of the country is put back together, I'm gonna swing back in against the Ilkhanate just to keep going against Georgia and all of their vassals. I'm starting to think using Age 2 infantry into Age 4 might not have been the best play, but as we're researching into halberdiers, hopefully that'll offset the fact that the Georgians do in fact got hands. I'm just licking my wounds here after getting my ass not beat. Like they came out of it bloody too, but we're just not flying. We're not trading as good as professionals should be. I'm gonna peace out with Georgia for their subject and one of their states and 600 ducats. Alrighty, attempt number 2. I'm just going to white peace out with the. Yeah, I'm just gonna white peace out with the leader of the Ilkhanate. I'll be back to fight more of his vassals, so I don't want a really long truce to be hanging over my head. Because, again, the Sudaites, the Artikids, the Kurdistani, and the Qal are all my problem. Alrighty, and with our new model army of falconets, lancers, and halberdiers, the best troops that we could have had 100 years ago, and our new CB going in on Egypt, the Crusaders promptly bounced off. Our goal, hopefully, and hopefully because I destroyed, yes, okay. Our goal is to eat up as much Syrian desert as possible. If I have to, I'll take the deserty stuff there because it might be considered cutting them off, but I'd rather not. Essentially, half of Jazaria and the northern half of the Levant. If we can afford it, also Jerusalem, just because, Deus Vult. I'm doubtful that I'll be able to get that much in the war, but because it's so much lower control now, because I seized the governor, hopefully we're able to push for it. Anyway, as soon as this pops, we go in. And hopefully with the new model army, we're able to roll over them. I believe we'll do so comfortably. Alrighty. Well, unlike the last where the Egyptians really didn't put up nearly as much of a fight, it was kind of a stomp. So we're going to take Dalkadir, most of northern Syria. We are leaving this corridor open just because we're simply out of war score, as well as Jerusalem. But don't worry, we'll be back. I at least need to take Philistine, Dir ez-Zor, Tadmor, and the rest of Sham. And we're just getting ready to go in on the Suthids after this. But first, let's piece that out. And oh boy, the Kingdom of Cilicia is looking... The Kingdom of Cilicia is looking so much better. And I'm going to have to make some vassal soup because there's just a little too much land there for me to be able to eat off the bat. Hey, you. Yeah, you over there. Are you enjoying peak Sicilia content? Then click the subscribe button. Okay, wow. Technically, I do have a large coalition. I don't think I care about it, but oh boy, is it technically there. I guess I have taken some of the most expensive Islamic land, short of either Cairo proper or the holy cities. But yeah, I'm starting to become quite popular. Not that I think this could stop me, but it's certainly remarkable in its own way. Alrighty, for the next step, I'm going to deck on the Suriads. They are both a member of the Ilkhanate, and also they've joined the coalition. So this is a chance for me to essentially clean up all of my problems in the Near East in one war. So I just need the month pick, and it should be a way to go. And just like that, we go deck with the destroy enemy CB, and between my vassals and myself, this should be such a wipe it isn't even really funny. While we're sieging out in this war, I just want to do a quick culture update. So the Armenian culture, as you can see, is the premier culture of all of Anatolia, as well as retaking the Armenian homelands, the Georgian mountains, or the Georgian Caucasus Mountains, and just overall is one of the more powerful cultures in the world. If you look, we have 2,000 cultural tradition, which would put us on par. Let's see, we're actually the second most culturally impactful nation, right behind the Ming. I could probably seize that if I laid down a bit more. Actually, I'm going to try and seize that now and become the cultural hegemon over the Chinese. Besides that, Miaphysitism is also spreading quite well. We're actually properly pushing into Anatolia now. There's a string of Sunni, but otherwise is coming down. We've also started to push Miaphysitism down the Levantine coast. So hopefully we can, hopefully we'll also be able to bring it back into the Caucasus Mountains in full force. Alrighty, and just like that, the Artiquids have been rolled over pretty wholeheartedly. So we're going to take all three of their provinces and all of their ducats, give them a kick in the pants, and move on to the next one. And the goal pretty well is to take all the Suetids, all the Kalaki, the northern bit of Baghdad and the northern bit of Kurdistan, and I will be very content to have upheld our eastern borders of the ancient kingdom of Armenia. Then we just need this little bit left here, and then we just got to bring it all together. And just like that, we are going to piece Kalaka out for essentially everything besides their capital. I'll also take all of their money. And the last real push we have here is just to piece out Kurdistan and Baghdad, and then we'll be able to take the Sudevids for all they're worth, and that will be the eastern borders pretty well upheld. I don't want to go too far into Iran. One, because that's not where this campaign's going, and two, because the Armenians never really went that deep into Parthia. From Kurdistan, we'll take the north half of their country, and from the Sudevids, we'll take this. Which, based on my map, if I overlay it on the screen here and make it look kind of transparent, our eastern borders should look pretty correct. I'm kind of eyeballing it, but hopefully our eastern borders are content. So that really leaves two things left. The Syrian desert that we have to take from Egypt here, and the last bit of Anatolia here that I want to take from Thessaly. So let's start with Thessaly. I should have had a Cleanse Heresy. I had a Cleanse Heresy CB pre-prepped. I just want to take this, maybe some of the Aegean Islands, make Byzantium a vassal for shits and giggles. And then we'll swing down and clean up against Egypt. Okay, Egypt also just joined the coalition, and I can't risk the coalition growing too big. So I'm also going to deck on Egypt and fight both of these wars at the same time. I'm sure nothing will go wrong. So I'm just going to throw down and do my best to keep track of it all. You know, fighting a war on every front. Oh, and also for reference, my antagonism looks this good. So even out in the steppes, they know of me. That's why I'm concerned about it getting a little out of hand. As you can see, while I'm sieging down up in Georgia, there's a large Egyptian offensive happening in Syria, and also a large invasion over on western Anatolia. So maybe I may have started more fights than I was really ready to handle, but I'm sure that this is fine. Everything is fine. We're just bringing up a fresh army that'll deal with what's happening on the west coast, and then once we finish up in Georgia, we'll turn south and push the Mamluks back as well. It is nice when you can take loans that are the size of small countries. All right, the Western Army is going in and about to start doing its work. And oh boy, does it have its work cut out for it? There's a very large stack of Serbians, and I'm pretty sure those are all professionals. Oh no, it's a lot more raw infantry than I was expecting. So we might still be doing okay. Instead of like the nice state building, this is just gonna all be war. Oh, we've made contact here, and yes, this is all peasant levy, so we are just cutting through it. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna take George's money and send them on the way. There's nothing more I want from them. There's nothing else I need from them. So let's bring our professional army down south to the Egyptian front, or the Levantine front. And because yeah, the Thessalians can't do anything against me. The Egyptians are the only problem. So I'm gonna let them siege down my vassals. They can go to town if they want, so long as I stop the Egyptians. Now I suppose luckily the Mamluks are stuck on the forts, so we should be able to pick them apart as we wish, and they're mostly peasant levy. I have Egypt on the ropes. I kind of pushed the peace deal to be a bit more, so they don't want to take it, but it's just a matter of time until they're willing to give in. We're sieging down Cairo. That's how far in we've made it. Cairo has fallen. Now we go and burn down Alexandria. We're so close to getting the rest of our ancient land back. This isn't the peace out that I wanted. I wanted to take all the way to the coastline to have a Indian Ocean port. I will accept taking Alexandria. Yes, the borders aren't perfect. I'm more than aware. But Alexandria is one of the holy sees, the Patriarchate. So I will accept liberating the Miaphysite Patriarch. I would like to come back. I'm just not sure I have it in me to do another big war like that. Otherwise, we liberate the Holy Land. Yeah, so we've taken the remainder of the land that we needed to take, and Alexandria, so I really can't complain. So we're gonna peace out from here and take the Pearl of the Mediterranean. This is a fantastic event, just saying about how we're going to restore Alexandria to being a center of learning, and it converts over 10% of the pops to our state religion. Or does it do more? Sorry, about 25% of the pops. And now I'm going to turn my armies on Thessaly and get this last piece of Anatolia that I'm missing and just make it all look pretty. And then I have so much land to give away to vassals, it's not even funny. I have a couple rebellions looming because of that. Okay, Thessaly is willing to take this piece out. I'm going to take all of their Aegean islands, the province that they had on Anatolia, and I actually just saw that they had a vassal all the way over here in QQ. So we're just going to pick that up, piece them out, and just like that, the nation feels peace for the first time in many, many months, many, many years. I'm going to stop paying the troops so I don't have to tax the peasants. Do my best to suture the nation back together because it's kind of tired of war. And so give me a minute to release a bunch of vassals and I'll be right back. Alrighty, and just like that, we've balkanized the entirety of the Syrian desert and northern Iraq. Most of those are custom subjects. All of them are very loyal. I don't even think I'm running any Diplo, and everybody is quite content. I am eventually going to go through and make them all Armenian in time. I'm still just kind of working my way through over in the Western Anatolia. Otherwise, we have a proper, if you squint a little, Armenian Empire stretching from, well, historically Armenia down into northern Parthia and over into Syria, with Jerusalem should be a vassal state, but obviously we keep the holy city for ourselves. Wow, that was more war than I have fought in a while, and my gosh, that was surprisingly intense. Well, So I'm just going to work on integrating these guys away and building up the economy, and I'll get back to you a bit shortly while we consolidate our conquests and deal with the consequences of it. I mean, the antagonism alone honestly isn't that bad. The Arab world, the Sunni world does not appreciate it. That's very true. But otherwise, it's not that bad. We gave away over 2 million population there. I mean, to be fair, some of these Egyptian provinces that we and Levantine provinces that we had were quite well populated. But otherwise, we're doing pretty okay. And I imagine that also northern Iraq and Iran have a decent amount of pops too. But we'll get this integrated and then deal with it. The Kula market was constantly starving, so I did just have to delete it. Um, I'm trying to figure out if it would be best to drop another market, maybe move something back to Constantinople, because I have very poor market access all the way in Western Anatolia for my capital, or if I should just move my market capital to be more central in Anatolia. Um, I think I'm gonna set up a new one. I just don't know exactly where. I'm feeling probably Constantinople. It's just I don't want to end up with another market that is basically sitting there starving to death because it's a pretty massive drain on everything. I'm gonna try making Izmit its own market. Hopefully, it doesn't starve to death. Otherwise, I'll have to delete it and figure out the next step. Um, I suppose the cheaper thing to do would have been to invade Bulgaria, steal their market, and reposition it, but that's too much effort. The country is mostly Kurd. Obviously, the Levantine stuff hasn't moved on over, and there are still pockets of Turks. When we look over at the culture more specifically, you can see Armenian is, although it's not a beautiful map mode due to the Turkish minorities, um, in the middle of it, it is a unified culture with a very healthy 9 million pops. That's much bigger than like something like Francian or English or British, or still bigger than something like Castilian, which is a very large culture group in terms of Europe. I'm sure if we go looking in India, I'll find I'll be blown over the water. Religiously, Miaphysite is starting to spread very aggressively. I've also selected a couple major reforms to do that easier with the counter-espionage offices giving us more pop assimilation speed and religious laws being enforced, which gives us more pop conversion speed. As well, I made sure to take on promote cultural unity. So hopefully, with all of these, pushing everybody on over to being Miaphysite Armenian is much easier. Um, Greeks are still accepted, although there's not many left. The Turks are still tolerated, although I could probably accept the Turks and just convert them on over. Yeah, okay. I'll accept the Turks, and we'll do our best to be rid of them. I will also accept the Levantine Arabs. Yeah, that gives us even more cores now, all of a sudden. We're doing pretty good. Again, most of our vassals have been forced over to being Armenian, so they are converting things in our name, and a couple more of them have been made into Miaphysite. They just are not nearly as good at converting as they are. They're not nearly as good at religiously converting as they are culturally converting. Yeah, as you can see, this is a list. Ooh, actually, the vassals are starting to get uppity. That's a problem. Why? Why are you getting uppity? I really can't have that. It's all of the fiefdoms versus my strength. Eh. Alrighty, I just got a pop-up for one of the more annoying events of EU5, where this artist, who sucks ass, I can, have cost me 10 prestige, 5 legitimacy, and 5 research points, which is, and that's 2.5 months of research. That's far from nothing. Um, or I can throw 4,000 gold at him. That's a little silly. I'm gonna throw the gold at him just because I don't want him to cost me the research. It's just like why when the art mechanic is something I haven't touched ever. Hey, maybe there's something there. But I'll tell you when I find it or when I have heard anybody talk about it. It's just there to cause you grief, I guess, through that artist event. But yeah, it's fun, right? My estates also are getting just a little bit uppity, so I'm gonna switch off of autocracy to fixed vassal obligation. Hopefully that'll fix it. They're right on the line, a lot of them, and I just need to. Once I start annexing a couple, I should be able to get through them. I just went a little. Oh fuck. Well, this is going to be an interesting war. This is essentially all of the revolter tags, or all of my vassals. Okay, well, a good half of my vassals, and the Mamluks. And if this works like how I remember, then if I take over my vassals' land, they, as long as I finish with a positive peace deal, they should not get independence. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to cover every single front at once, but I think my professional armies should be enough to win the day. This is going to get kind of spicy. I wasn't planning on this. I pushed it maybe a little too far. I was maxed out on Diplo. Yeah, I was. Okay, so there wasn't much else I could do. I guess I could have put on fixed vassal obligation a little bit earlier. The numbers of the war technically aren't in our favor, but I have a professional army and I'm fighting against the AI in EU5, so, you know, it's already won. It's just a formality to fight this out. Hopefully just by sieging down this vassal, if I'm willing, if they're able to essentially succumb to me. Yes, we've been proclaimed the cultural hegemon. Fantastic. So that means I should be able to assimilate things on an area-wide basis. Assimilate area. There we go. To Armenian. Assimilate the entirety of the Levant. That is so nice. That is nuts. So if I, instead of assimilating... Oh, can it only be done... Okay, I can only assimilate one area at a time. Alrighty. Well, the vassals are willing to throw it in, so I'm just going to accept it as it is. I am going to take this single, specifically this here, just so I can use as a port to get into the Indian Ocean. Otherwise, though, I'm just going to take money and piece this out, because this is a dumb war. They should all return to being my vassals. Yes, they do. They're kind of upset, but, you know, bah humbug. And that big war looked impressive, but was all for nothing. Now, the benefit of having the province on the tip of the Sinai? Yeah. The benefit of having the province on the tip of the Sinai is I can explore directly out into the Indian Ocean with preferably the best military guy we have, because there is one other side goal I want to achieve. I would eventually like to hook this up, but if it has to exist down there as a oddity, then I'll accept that. I mean, I kind of wish that we could make a Suez, or at least like rebuild the ancient canal that hooked up to the Nile, because in the Roman times there was some form of a canal that brought you to the Nile and then brought it through. It wasn't good for warships, but at least for commercial shipping. Well, you know, spices mainly. Look at that though. Look at that amount of building. We are economically, well, where are we? We have almost 3,000 base tax. That puts us on par with, we're almost on par with France for the size of our economy. And I'm sure once we actually annex in our vassals and are able to project good control onto them, we could go toe to toe. We could go band to band with the French. But we are going hard. Our Maritime's presence around Anatolia is doing pretty good. It's not perfect, not gonna lie, but certainly doing good. Oh, fuck, they're doing again. Seriously? We're doing this again. After the last time, except you're even weaker. Or is this the coalition? This is the coalition. Okay. Well, I wish you luck. I think you're gonna need it. I'm just having fun building my stuff up, and you guys are coming here kicking over my stuff, my little sandcastle. Fine. I'm gonna go beat up Egypt, and I'm gonna take that direct connection to the ocean then, if you're gonna make me go through all this friggin' trouble. Okay, well, Quam technically is decking it, but I'm gonna let the subjects deal with that, and I'm gonna go beat up Egypt just for the force of habit. Alrighty, well, Quam's willing to leave, and I think by the time the truce runs out, the coalition should not have enough AE to go in on me again. At least not enough that I will care about. So I actually am just going to peace out of this because I really don't want to be fighting coalition wars. I just want to be integrating my vassals. Because of all the fun things about EU5, fighting the wars, it's not bad. It's not victory. But it's also not Hoi 4. So we'll just send it back. Disband the levies. And people can keep on living. Mostly because I can't be bothered to kill them. Oh, that's beautifully disgusting. There have been 1, 2, 3, 4 different countries managed to colonize Cape Verde. Genoa, France? Yes, France, Aragon, and the two Sicilies. Wonderful. Great. Cool. The amount of upgrading I'm doing for RGOs right now seems like it's a fantastic way for early onset carpal tunnel. But I believe every RGO in the nation has just been marked to be fully upgraded. So that's a good thing. As well, our vassal, the Candrids, have just been annexed, which only leaves us with 5 major ones, and then there's the islands over here. And then, of course, there's the mess out east, if you will. Alrighty, so I'm going to go to war against Egypt. I really don't need anything from them. It's more to break the rebellious subjects block that keeps joining together, and I'm going to try and keep this war going for as long as I can within reason. Hopefully decking the war makes them loyal. If not, when I raise the levies, it certainly will. And I just have to get through. I'm going to end this war here. I wouldn't normally take this much stuff, but Egypt actually won't peace out unless I do because of the recipient to fractured modifier. So I get to end the war now like this. I essentially will be taking all of the Sinai Peninsula, the top half of the Arabian Desert, and a healthy amount of antagonism, but that's neither here nor there. Could I push it on further? Yeah, but honestly, just let me out of it. This is way past the borders that I necessarily wanted to conquer. But hey, you know, we're living a little. Yeah, you may not like it, but this is what peak Cilicia looks like. Now I'm gonna try and find a way to release this without getting another vassal revolt, because everybody's still kind of pissy. So we're just gonna release some tribes into, or some vassals into the Arabian Desert. I am gonna hold on to the land down here. I'm not even gonna make an argument that I can push control down this far. Maybe naval control along the coast, but nothing actually down into Egypt. But gosh darn it, it's just fun to have. So I'll probably build up some roads and try and make, you know, at least the Mediterranean side slightly controlled. But everything else is probably dead in the water. We're just going to do a quick follow through on threat CB against Baghdad. Not that I am necessarily going to take more land, but more that I need to be able to humiliate a lot of people very quickly, and this is the easiest way for me to do that. Also, I need to break up the vassals thinking they can exist without me again. Alrighty, from Egypt, we're just going to humiliate them, take war reps, and take 1,000 ducats. And we're also going to piece Lam out just for a humiliation and a couple of ducats. And most importantly, with that humiliation, we go over 70. So I'm going to have to take a couple loans to do this. But we can finally become the Empire of Armenia. Yes. And whenever that decides to update. And we get a free cabinet slot, which is
Fantastic. And the honest answer is I don't need anything else from these guys, so I'm just going to wipe peace out. But with being the Cilician Empire, we have achieved even higher, really. Wasn't that hard to do, just took humiliating a couple of people and spending a bit on the culture. I do have a bit of debt to pay off, though. And look at that, though. The beautiful Cilician Empire. What does being an empire actually give us? Does it give us a spare local governor? Oh, yes, it does. Oh, yes, it does. Okay, fantastic. With our spare local governor from being an empire, I will build a road down to our Egyptian lands, or... Ooh, this is actually hard. Well, but with the boats, I really don't need it. I mean, like, yeah, it sucks that these aren't getting seen to, but where am I gonna put my last local governor? I really think Yerevan. Just be for the meme, and I'll move Trebizond over. Also, for shits and giggles, I've urbanized the entire coastline into at least towns. Um, Everywhere from the tip of our Black Sea coast all the way down into the Sinai Peninsula has a town and is getting the full naval treatment. So really, it will only be a matter of time until we have perfect control. Because yes, even down here, we'll have capital proximity. I started this land war just to keep the vassals in check, because if I have the vassals off to war, they don't get uppity, and I can kind of quietly annex them away. Um, and I originally was just using it for that, but since the vassals are doing such a good job, if they manage to make it down to Mecca and Yemen, I will steal the holy city of Mecca as well as the Yemeni coffee provinces, because there's some nice trade goods down there, and it'll give me some more ports to get into the Indian Ocean with. Other important notes: the first Armenian colony has been set up in Madagascar, and if you know, you know, but we're trying to get to somewhere. But I won't talk too much about it now. Otherwise, the economy is going good. As you can see, much of the country is a full core. Everybody is Armenian and enjoying it. We've brought in Armenian culture to most of the Levant, as well as we're bringing it into the Sinai Peninsula. When it comes to being the Physite, the entire Anatolian Peninsula has been converted over, besides the Germanids, which are getting annexed right now. Then I'm going to start eating up the homeland of Armenians, and set up the next local governor over in Yerevan, and also make sure that everything is Armenian. And then we'll clean up our Iraqi and Syrian desert vassals. Alrighty, so out of this Lam war, I'm actually not going to take anything from Elam. I'm just going to take the holy city of Mecca and Yemen's coffee provinces here and the market capital of Aden here, and skedaddle on away. Oh, did I just get my... I just got my professionals stuck in Arabia. I don't know how they're going to get home, but that they might just have to sit there and be a guard. So you might be wondering why the heck I took that land that I really can't make use of. The answer is sweet, sweet naval proximity. Then the only real holy cities I'm missing would be Rome for the Pentarchy, right? Because it's Rome, Constantinople, Antioch, Alexandria, and Jerusalem. So I'll be short a Rome, but I'm not going to go and fight the two Sicilies. That seems like a pain in the butt. Oh boy, and just like that, we've made it to the age of absolutism. This is by far the deepest I've made it into EU5, so I have to actually sit down and read what all these do. So give me just a moment. Alrighty, just as a rough going over, I mean, admin just seems to have the most generic good ones. Again, Diplo would be good if I had like wide subjects, not ones that were close to me, but ones that were far away. And military has some interesting ones, like superior firepower is really neat, and absolutist administration. But admin has watered down versions of those, like civil service and centralized government and religious unification. So there's a lot here to appreciate. Not that I'm going to be getting to any of them soon, because I am still dealing with Age of Reformation texts. I'm only halfway through. But still, you have 64 texts in the queue, geez. But still. In other news, we also have the Colombian exchange, which I haven't had the pleasure of messing with before. So let's see what it takes to spread. Oh, we can spread chilies. Okay, I'm about to turn something into a chili farm. Oh, what do I want instead of well, let's replace all the wild game with chilies. This seems like a bad idea, but also a great idea. Oh, and fish too. Gosh, I hate fish. Alrighty, well, so we've just spread a bunch of chili, and now the time is to build it to high hell. Holy jeez, chilies make a lot of money. Oh, I'm clicking. This is how you get carpal tunnel. I really do have to get an auto clicker. Because this is bad. Peak EU5 gameplay right here. We're getting uppity, so you know what that means. Time for another random invasion. Just to have them calm down. We're gonna go in on Dalam. They really can't put up a fight, so we're just gonna pop and beat them up and leave. Also, Court and Country is just kicked off, and it seems like I have to be ripping away more estate privileges. The easiest ones to take away are definitely gonna be the clergy, but the nobility is already pretty weak, and the burghers I can probably take away stuff like their production efficiency and whatnot. You know what? Screw it. Let's get rid of them all and deal with the consequences of it. Oh boy, this is about to cause some unique problems for my country. Yeah, everybody's pissed. That's fair. Might have just caused a couple civil wars, but you know, that's fine. Okay, you know what? Maybe ripping all of the power from everybody at once was not the most politically savvy decision I've ever made. No, that's it. That's the thought. There's no plot coming. That's just it. Losing 1,000 ducats a month, maybe not the greatest. How long can we? Dude, even the tribes are pissed. Why? Oh, it's just. So my vassals are already disloyal, so I'm gonna stop the Diplo spending, max the stab spending, and just embrace debt for a minute. Yeah, 86,000 ducats in debt. There's no problem with this. This is why you don't just say, fuck it, I'm an absolutist all at once. And we're gonna do our best to dig ourselves out of the hole that I dug. Yeah, this is certainly a position to be in. The commoners are almost done being mad, I think. How bad are the burghers? Okay. Yeah, so I just have to appease the nobles. That's the big one. The commoners I don't actually think will rise up. White peace imminent. You know what? You just hold them in a white peace, because otherwise they have a vassal revolt coming. And I think they would all revolt. Yeah, pretty well. Well, not all of them, but all of the fiefdoms. Just gotta get back to positive stability. If I can do that, then I win. 130,000 ducats in debt, but hey, you know, that's nothing. That's just the modern economic system at work. We gotta keep going in favor of absolutism. Can't. If we pump the brakes now, we die. Let's also slot in autocracy, and hopefully once that law is in, we'll be able to get to the absolutism we need. I understand I am hemorrhaging stab. Oh. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, we are going to take this hit just to slow down the noble insurgency. Little Ice Age isn't quite what I needed either. This is well, I really have no one to blame but myself, but this is uncomfy. Okay, well, actually, if I do a fuckload of minting, I can offset some of it. Hey, okay, the nobles aren't gonna rise up now. So I just gotta stop the commoners. And the more I pour money into stability, the better it gets. Theoretically, I could break even right now if I'm cool with my subjects starving a little bit harder. I would love to help them, but bad time for me to get the court and country event then. How bad is my inflation? No, don't worry about it. Okay, okay. Nobody's rising up now actively. Well, the clergy are, but I'm a lot more scared of the peasant mob and the noble horde than I am a bunch of dudes in dresses. We will still appease the clergy. We still are massively in debt, but nobody's rising up. Okay, we were forced to peace out with the Elam, which means my vassals might get uppity. To which I say, try me. Alrighty, and now the fun part is done. Okay, just gotta stitch the nation back together. Whew, that was sketchy. Maybe I shouldn't have done it that way, but get big crown control number. Oh yeah, I'm still also at max minting. That's a whole different issue. Slowly start paying that off. Now we are only making 22 ducats a month, as opposed to like the 500 we were making, but nobody's trying to kill us. We're 200 ducats in the hole. Nobody's trying to kill us. Okay, well, wait a second. Okay, we'll turn off fort maintenance, army maintenance. Okay, this is stable because stability will get better. Stability will improve. So yeah, it's stable. Everything's fine. I don't know why you would be concerned. I'm not concerned. Why are you concerned? Make sure everybody's giving me a pisate. Okay. Wow, that was sketchy. I don't know why I decided to do it that way, but we're now going to be a very absolutist empire in 5 years. And then we'll have the court and country event end. But hey, we're good and absolutist. Okay, and there's the Independence War. I knew it was coming, I just didn't know when. Or is it an Independence War? Yes, it's the Armenian Sicilia War. Unfortunately for them, I don't think it's gonna work out, Cotton. Now, one of my professional armies is still stuck in Arabia, and of course nobody's going to give me military access. Yeah, they're gonna tell me to shove it so many different ways it's not even funny. And none of my actual vassals are gonna help. So all I'm gonna do is run full force at that guy and hope that I can steal his money before this gets bad. Because I could raise all the levies in the world, and they're not gonna do shit against Georgia and Bulgaria, who both have professional armies. Alrighty, so I am just going to piece out of this war for a whole 2.8 ducats. That should keep them all as a subject, actually, just in case. Fantastic. Alright, stabilized. See, everything is fine. No problems at all. This empire is held together by duct tape and a dream. Just to try another thing, I'm also going to, kick Killis out from being my vassal. So if I just cancel my fiefdom status with Killis, they get their independence. I can go over and declare war on Killis with the disloyal subject CB. It is 10 stab. I am a little tight on stab, but I need these lands to start being integrated, and it's a really good CB. And then we can just go and beat them up. Because I have the counselors to actually integrate this land, and it's already been made Armenian, so I just need to integrate it. The limiter here is Killis. And that makes my other vassals only disloyal, which means that they stop complaining as much. Oh, and we can also see the west coast of Australia. So once I am no longer bleeding money, actually, you know what? Screw it. I want to be the first European there. We're going to lay down some colonists on the coast of Australia. 4 should be plenty. Because, of course, Armenian Australia, you know who you are. I read the comments. Alrighty, so we're just going to annex all of Killis directly. It's a little bit of AE, but it doesn't matter anymore. And immediately just sick the dogs on the provinces to integrate them manually. As for the court and country disaster, we're going to make it out of it perfectly fine. We just have to wait out 2 more years. I have a buttload of crown power, approximately a buttload, as opposed to an imperial buttload. The estates, I've ripped away many of their privileges. The most privileged state, of course, being the burghers, and the clergy just has some tolerance to the true faith and pop assimilation speed and cabinet efficiency. I don't know exactly how it happened, but I just noticed that my vassals over here were stuck at war with Baghdad, Galam, and Qam. So I think they decked when the vassals declared independence, but I'm just gonna go in and join the war and shut that shit down because I'm not letting them annex my land back, even if they think it would be funny. Oh, actually, and that put me at war with Lam, so I should be able to get my troops out of Arabia as well. I just need to get through a fort. Alright, I'm gonna do Lam the favor of separate piecing them with a white piece, just so that I can get my lads black flagged out of their land and hopefully, actually back to someplace useful. And I'm just gonna white piece out Baghdad and hopefully remind them not to fuck with my vassals. Yeah, that was a weird war, but I'm glad that I had a way of getting involved. Luckily, we just got the disloyal subject CB on Dogger. So we're gonna get our lads in position and then go in on Dogger as well. Okay, so with Dogger, we will cancel their fiefdom status. Congratulations, you're independent now. And then I will simply have both my armies move right next to them and explain to them why that's a bad thing. Alrighty, and just like that, we're going to deck on Dogger with the disloyal subject CB. It does cost some stability, but, it's easier than waiting around for them to rebel against me. And again, just going to keep doing this up until people get in line. And just like that, people are starting to actually become pretty loyal once they realize what's happening. When the choice is being peacefully integrated and brought into the system or getting turned into paste, people don't love being paste. Alrighty, and just like that, we have finished the court and country disaster. We hopefully will have happier states now. And yes, legitimacy will now grant more crown power. And we should be able to start paying down our 70,000 ducats in loan. And once we stop paying for the court too, things will get better. Then we can bring back on Diplo spending, bring the vassals back into line, like they're starting to come. In fact, if I max Diplo spending, I only have four disloyal subjects, as opposed to literally all of them from 5 minutes ago. Artabil, improved relations, and that should be able to be fixed with some good targeted relation improvement. Dogger, we're gonna full annex. I said we're going to full annex and take all of his money. Again, it's unfortunate because we will have to integrate this land, as opposed to when it's a vassal, it's auto integrated. But if that's the price of doing business, so be it. They got to be loyal somehow. Alrighty, and back to integrating the country. Our Australian colony is progressing nicely, and for those wondering, I am spending an absolute stupid amount of money on colonies to make this go very quickly, because I'm colonizing essentially the entire Australian south coast, well, to about the middle of Australia, and all the way up to essentially the Northern Territory, I believe. My mental image of Australian states is bad. I just know West Australia, North, the capital, and Sydney are somewhere over there. And I'm not going to try and say them because I'm going to get messed up. There's Canberra, there's Sydney, fuck, and what's the last one? There's another important one there. And Tasmania. That's the best I can do, Australia. I'm sorry. Oh, isn't there Port Darwin up here too somewhere? But yeah, that's the best I can do. I shouldn't even tried. Well, Egypt's gotten together with a couple of my up rowdy vassals and has declared independence with the coalition. So I'm just gonna take my professional armies. You know what? We're gonna do my new favorite thing. We're gonna take on a little bit of debt, upgrade these armies to be the newest and best they can be, and then we're going to march south onto Egypt and basically burn Cairo to the ground. I've had enough of Egypt. Oh, our colonial subject in Australia has now formed. So let me see if I can come up with a funny name really quick. Okay, so from what I can tell, well, firstly, the Armenian script, not a Latin-based script. Not sure what I expected. Should have known better. But from what I can tell, it would be pronounced roughly like Australia. That's probably completely wrong, but there's not that much Armenian documentation I could find on the matter. So we're just going to go with Australia and hope that that counts. The runner-up was Armenian Australia, so really we're not losing that much. Like half of this episode is just going to be me staring as I invade Egypt. Oh god. To be fair, there's been a lot of wars with Egypt. But man, they just don't know when to fucking call it quits. Okay, Egypt, I don't care. Let me out of this war. Just, fine, I won't take your money. Just piss off. We all go back to the status quo. I'm just going to try and annex through a couple more of these at max speed, and then we'll come back and do a breakdown of the nation. And also I'm going to keep colonizing Australia. God damn it. Here I was doing my best to spam out control along the colony, and Portugal shows up and takes two. Oh, you suck. Fuck you, Portugal. And just like that, after however many years it's been, I really don't know, we've managed to pay off the national debt. Alrighty, so with some wars started in the colony, I'm just having my subjects hopefully clean up this Portuguese colony, and hopefully they annex it. I wouldn't be surprised if the AI manages to mess that up, but I did have both Mid-Australia and Australia back on them, so hopefully it all goes well. I hate the AI. It literally won the colonial war completely, and it just white pieced out. Did you take any of their land? Oh well. Alrighty. I think that this is where I'm going to call it, though. It is 1685. I've been running it on 6 speed, and I have things I have to do today. So, let's do a proper rundown of nation and put a capstone on this campaign. Let's start with the economy. We have 7,250 tax base. We are comparable in tax base to France, who is slightly larger than us. For comparison, China has 14,000, so we have half the economy of China, more or less. We have 17.7 million pops, again, compared to France, who has 31 million, or China, who has 140 million. We're doing pretty well. Maybe somebody more comparable. Yeah, Egypt has about 8 million. We have brought the Armenian culture en masse to Anatolia, to the north of the Middle East, and properly down the Levant. Could I have pushed it further? Yes. Sometimes fighting wars just isn't that fun. For our religion, we have brought Miaphysite to be a prominent pillar in the Christian world. We've taken back 4/5 of the Pentarchy. We just never got over to Rome, but I really didn't feel like fighting a naval battle against two Sicilies. With Alexandria, Jerusalem, Antioch, and Constantinople, there are still Sunni pockets in our land. They're slowly just getting converted out and over. As you can see, we have pretty decent conversion. We have many, many vassals, most of northern Iraq, pushing all the way against the Caucasus, much of northern Arabia, as well as Mecca and Aden. Our markets are plentiful, controlling the Aden market, the Meccan market, the Alexandria market, the Damascus market, the Cis market, the Izmit market, and the Trebizond market. And of course, the crown jewel of our empire, Australia, North Australia, and Mid Australia, tainted by the Portuguese colony of Naranga. I did my best to get rid of it, but the vassals just didn't feel like doing it. Australia, as you can see, is very Armenian, very Miaphysite. I was going to go and pick up East Australia. Unfortunately, I'm just out of time. So, if you enjoyed watching the Cilician Empire grow, take back the Holy Land, and become the fourth greatest power in the world from essentially a little door wedge in Anatolia, throw down a like, throw down a comment, maybe even subscribe. Thank you all very much for your time, and thank you all again for helping me hit 100 subscribers. That's a massive milestone. I hope you all have yourselves a fantastic day. And this is Brown Dog 2, signing out.